Well, hello, friends. How are you on this lovely Vermont day? Excited to see you here. You might notice something a little different, maybe not. My mat is a different color. We started outdoor yoga, yay, last night, and I took out my regular mat, forgetting that I had an outdoor mat. So now my outdoor mat is my indoor mat. Anyway, we're going to get started with today's focus, which is on the journey. So the idea here is not to worry about where you land or getting that, Olympic 9 or 10 for landing perfectly in whatever posture you're moving into, but more so with the idea that of the preciousness of life and the impermanence of everything, that we explore the movement into the posture and think about the posture itself more as a direction rather than a destination. Same goes for the mindfulness, same goes for the breath. We're going to explore the journey of those things. So, we're going to take a few minutes at the start, as we often do, for pranayama or breath work. So, find your comfortable seat. And if that means actually sitting on a chair, totally cool, but move your backside to the back of the chair and make sure your feet are flat on something. That could be a block or a cushion or something like that if your feet, like mine, don't often reach the floor. Find the hands resting wherever it feels okay so that they're not scrunched, shoulders are not scrunched up, and also maybe not too much burden of the hands dropping down. So we rest them lightly, palms up or down, in the lap, on the thighs, whatever works for you. I'm going to take a traditional meditative posture with the back of the right hand in the palm of the left and the thumb pads just touching. I'm going to check in with the toes if they are reaching away from you or maybe scrunching in together. Maybe you can relax them and notice the calves and what the knees are doing, the thighs and the hip creases, and then see what the lower back, the belly, and the bottom are doing. For me, I often have a deeper low curve in my spine because I'm not activating the belly. So now I'm pressing my pelvis a little forward and drawing the navel in toward the spine. A little bit of lift from the pelvis all the way to the sternum, opening up of the collarbones and a tuck of the chin. Your eyes now can be downcast about 4 or 6 feet in front of you, or perhaps you prefer to close them. I will have my eyes closed as we breathe in and shrug the shoulders up to the ears. Press the shoulders away toward the back and then release with an out breath. We take that again, shrug shoulders in. Press them back and release. And one more time, shoulders shrug up. They move behind us and drop down. A drop of the chin. Taking your time. A little pendulum movement of the chin left and right. And if the chin can come all the way parallel with the shoulder, cool. And if it can't, also fine. Your out breath, the chin drops down. Your in breath, the chin comes in its pendulum swing toward the opposite shoulder. And drops down again. Exhale. One more round. Check in with the shoulders. We don't need an extra pair of earrings. Chin drops. Final lift in the arc. And chin drops. Chin comes parallel to the earth. And now we're going to use the neck in a different motion. We're going to take a slow out breath and move the chin all the way toward the right shoulder. We're going to pause for the breath in, and then twist the neck again, moving the chin closer toward parallel with the shoulder. We'll pause again in breath and move the head. This time the gaze also moves way to the right. Gaze comes straight ahead and slowly move the chin back towards center. Breathe in. Breathe out, twist the neck toward the left. Another inhale. And a twist. Inhale. And twist. My drishti is on a very large spider on the wall. Seems very happy. Now let's go ahead and deepen this twist, taking the left hand behind us and the right hand onto the thigh. Breathe in. Twist from the navel. Inhale. Long spine, and we rotate the navel around that spine, around the bone. Noticing the journey, exploring the journey, we come front and center, and then swing our twists the other way. Return front and center. Hands drop by your sides, palms face up. Inhale, arms in front, parallel to the earth. Remain here for the breath out. Lock the arms back into the shoulders. Draw the belly in. Inhale, arms high. Stay here. Exhale, palms face out. Breathe in. Hands drop halfway out to the sides. We get nice and long. Activate the space between the shoulder blades, your triceps, and then point the fingers down. Reach those fingers way toward the torso and the outer wrists away from you. Then reach the fingertips up so the heels of the hands reach away from you. Little wax on, wax off. We're going to take some circles forward, nice small ones to start. Really reach the heels of the hands. I'm peeking at myself on camera because my elbows tend to bend a lot. We're going to enlarge those circles. Then make them Papa Bear size. And we're going to pause, finding length and strength. Draw the belly in and up, point the fingers down, and then toward your torso. Once again, reaching the outer wrists away from you. Fingers point back up, and we take the circles backwards. Small to start. Medium-sized. Saturn ring sized. Maybe not quite that, but you get the gist. And we pause once again, arms parallel, and the last time the fingers point down and toward the torso. Reach, 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 reach. Flip the palms so they face up. Inhale, arms reach overhead. Maybe the gaze draws upward toward the thumbs. We press the sitting bones into the earth, reach the fingertips so we get a little bit taller. Yes, it can happen. And the hands draw to the heart. Here a moment, perhaps with the eyes closed or downcast, to consider what brought you to your mat today, or maybe an intention for being on your mat today. Knowing that every time we come to our mat, we create change, we create space. Even if we feel like we're not really into it that day, the fact that we actually commit to the practice makes a big difference in our lives and in the lives of those around us. Life is precious. Nothing is permanent. What goes around comes around, so positive begets positive. And suffering is the human condition, but our cultivation of the positive actually relieves that suffering. Let's go ahead and start the more active part of the practice. Kick it off with an Om. If you'd like to join in, feel free. It could be a silent Om as well. We're going to take a big cleansing breath. Inhale fully. Whether you're on a prop or not, we're going to reach the legs out nice and wide. Oops, I got to move over a little bit. Don't want to press the computer away from me. We're going to sit up nice and tall. Place the palms upward and the hands can be on the thighs. We're just taking a little bit of a stretch here. reaching the heels away, pressing the knees downward without locking them. Tailbone tucked, torso nice and long. So think about this posture as, again, a direction rather than a destination. A wide-legged fold. Hands can drop in front. I don't know about you, but I am definitely very tight this morning. I took a shower, but that's about all I did after I got up. And so as you walk the hands forward, we don't go too far. We want to be safe. Just starting the opening of the hamstrings and the hips. And maybe there's a little bend in the knees to get you a little farther away with a long spine. Place the right hand outside the right foot, the right knee, and turn to face your right knee. Breathe in. Exhale, walk the hands forward. Long spine. Inhale, come through the center. Exhale, walk the hands forward. You might have a little more space now. Place the left hand outside the left knee and face your the left side of your chest toward the left knee. Breathe in. And exhale, walk the hands away. If I mixed up the legs, by all means, just do the opposite leg you already did. You don't have to switch your legs around on your body. Breathe in and exhale. One more time. We come through the center. Breathe in and breathe out. Rise back up to your seat. Soles of the feet together. We're going to start, not that we haven't already started, but we're going to go to a yummy posture for this early in the practice, which is a Baddha Konasana. You don't need to get the heels super close to the sitting bones. And if you like, you might take a hold of the feet with the thumbs inside the arches and the fingers along the top of the foot. That way, as you breathe in and lengthen the spine, your elbows might help your knees drop away from you. Starting out with a nice long spine so you can feel the belly drawing in and you're not putting a lot of pressure on your low back or your upper back. And at some point on a breath out, if it feels right for you, go ahead and drop your chin toward your chest and you can round your spine. And you might find a little extra opening there in the hips. In our standing postures today, breathe in, rise to your seat. We are going to try some different routes to get into them, but we are going to start in our probably, maybe not, favorite pose. Favorites change, nothing is permanent, but I tend to find that most people, especially early in the practice and toward the end, dig a bit of child's pose, which you can zhuzh up. So maybe today we'll zhuzh up our child's pose. Knees nice and wide, sitting bones toward the heels, big toes touch, hands walk forward, head drops to something. If it resists coming to the mat, place a prop underneath it. You're going to zhuzh this up by pressing the palms together. I just love that word. Pressing the palms together overhead with the pinkies on the ground. Take a bend in the elbows so the fingers come to the nape of the neck or between the shoulder blades. And one at a time, walk the elbows forward, not lifting your seat, but just finding a stretch, maybe in the underarms and across the chest, through the shoulders. A big breath in and a complete breath out. Palms drop to the earth. They spread as wide as your shoulders. Draw into a long tabletop to start and then shift into your tabletop. Wrists underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. And for most of us, we tend to think our hips are wider than they are. So we're going for the bony hips in front, not the wide hips left and right. Float the right leg behind you. Keep your glutes active, your hamstrings, your belly. Float the left arm in front. And we're going to find this balance, pressing the top of the left foot into the earth, drawing the belly in and up, and working to square the hips. We're going to drop the left hand, take a peek over the left shoulder, and find our journey of the leg sweeping above the left calf. Maybe you can see the leg. We drop the shoelace side of the foot onto the floor, out to the left side of the mat, and glide the front of the right hip toward the left heel. Take your time. And maybe you find you need a little bit more work, tucking the right toes under to shift that leg back, drawing to your forearms, and your head has the nose pointing now straight down. And even as we breathe, we're still finding this posture. There is almost no point in time where you are completely still. There's no perfection, it's practice. And we realize that even when we set goals or set bars, there's still the destination, the journey toward them. And then when we get there, we realize it's not about there, it's about getting there. And then we find another route to the next thing. Draw back to a three-legged tabletop. Draw your knee to your nose. Take your time. Inhale, lengthen the leg. And draw the knee back to the mat. A little wiggle waggle. Maybe some hip circles. And then we take the other leg stretched long behind. Square the hips up. Really work the shin on the right side and then float the right arm in front. Super fast, super strong, not super fast, super strong. Just super strong. Hand drops, taking your time. The leg sweeps above the right calf. We look over the right shoulder. Go as far as that leg can go before we drop the shoelace side of the foot on the earth. Slowly take the journey, gliding the front of the left hip to the right heel. I always forget I crash into the wall here. Forearms come down. And maybe we shift around by tucking the left toes under to find a little extra length and stretch in the right glutes. Rise back to tabletop. Draw the knee to the nose. Inhale, extend. And the knee returns to the mat. Maybe a little kitty cat stretch, pressing into the heels of the hands. The sitting bones come back toward the heels and the head drops. Draw back to tabletop. Walk the hands forward a couple of inches. Fingers are nice and wide. It's as if you're opening up pickle jars with the hands. And the toes tuck under. And gently, we release the knees from the earth, finding our little exploration into downward facing dog. Draw the belly in. Press the chest energy toward the thighs. Pedal your way in and out, or any other movement, maybe heels left and right. Just finding your way. This mat has lost all its sticky. And settle in. And even in the settling in, you're still breathing, and the breath allows the body to find where it needs to be right now. Peel forward for a high plank. Measure it out. Should be the same length as your down dog. So my down dog was a little short. Exhale, lift the belly and the hips, down dog. Hands walk toward the feet. Remember, we said we're going to take things a little differently today. I know we've done forward fold as the back of the mat before. Now take your time exploring how you might bend your knees more to draw the heels down and keep your belly in contact with the thighs. Head hangs heavy. Ragdoll.
Journey on your way up, but keep your ragdoll arms. They're helping gravity help you. Then once the shoulders stack over the hips, and again, you might not be there yet, that's okay. The arms will lift over the head in your ragdoll if that can work for you. A little tilt over to the right. Open up the elbows a little bit more. You might need to make some space between them. And then we lift up front and center. Tilt to the opposite side. Pressing into that edge of the right foot. Rise up, release your arms in a V. Thumbs remain free, and we make a fist of the fingers. A little power posture, a little yes, a little cultivation of the positive, the I can. Cactus shape arms. Now see if you can play with this. Fingers open, elbows widen, shoulder blades sneak in toward each other. That often will make the belly drop away. So we're going to tuck the tailbone a little bit and draw the belly in. Drop the hands behind you. Interlace the fingers, or you can just stack the hands, or you might curl the fingertips and hook them in together. We're keeping the hands at the low back to start, so we can begin to loosen the shoulders away from the ears, open up the collarbones. So we're taking our time getting into a bound chair and a bound forward fold. Slowly, on a breath out, knuckles draw downward. The arms don't have to straighten all the way. Just find that little journey into your standing heart opener with a bind. Then we sit into chair, Uttanasana, keeping the bind. How delicious. Finding our journey. For me, I love to lift the toes up and spread them nice and wide. And then starting with the pinky toe, bring them back to the mat one at a time. Not that easy to do, but kind of fun and feels very different in terms of the purchase that you have on the mat. Draw the belly in. See if you can sit a little bit lower. Draw up to the tiptoes. See if you can sink lower. Stay low, draw the heels down. Open those collarbones. Keep the knees soft and a forward fold. Hands release to the earth. The fingertips glide to the shins for a half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. We open the collarbones, draw the shoulders toward the hips, draw the sitting bones behind and the belly in. Neck is long, exhale, forward fold. If you have low back issues, you can also exhale on your half lift or your all the way lift. We'll find another half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Another round of breath here. And a fold. One more time, Ardha Uttanasana. And an exhale brings you back down. Unravel all the way to standing. In most vinyasa classes, we will have gone to the front of the mat from our down dog. Today we're going to take a meditative walk there. Arms sweep out and up. Breathe out, hands to your heart, Samastiki. And in the practice of the journey of finding our way there, we'll take a toe heel approach, slow, 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 to the front of the mat. You don't have to keep the feet in line. You can keep the feet wide and maybe widen the fingers front to back and drop your chin. Take your time. Doesn't matter if you overshoot your mat. Maybe you even close your eyes here. Just feeling what you feel, where the breath goes, how it flows through the body, where you're sending it, the texture of your mat. And we stand at the front of the mat in mountain pose. Hands drop by your sides with the palms facing forward. No over efforting though. So if they don't face forward somewhat naturally, don't worry about it. It's just yoga. We're going to sit into chair pose with the arms in front of us. Lock the arms back into the shoulders. Rise back to the tiptoes. See if you can sink a little deeper. Imagine you have a block between your knees. Stay low. Draw the heels back down. Stay in your chair. Lift the arms up. The pinkies face one another. If you're like me with tight biceps and triceps, your arms might not straighten. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, find a fold. Inhale, half lift. Breathe out for your fold, and the left foot glides to the back of the mat. Take your time. Find this posture of runner's lunge. If you need your blocks, grab them. If you need pillows under your hands, grab them. If you need to move the right foot out to the right, make that happen. Find your way into a nice long stance where you can reach the left heel away. Maybe you feel a little stretch in the calf. The belly energy and chest energy drawing away from your right thigh, although you might still be touching it. I sure am. And the shoulders are moving back. So if the hands have to move back to be parallel with the heel, let that happen. Runner's lunge. We're going to bring the right hand inside the right foot and drop the left foot into a warrior two stance. Here is where you might stay, or maybe with tented fingertips, you float the left arm up, opening up the left hip into an extended side angle. We're going to move then into a warrior two just for a moment. Bring the hands to the hips and pivot to face the long edge of your mat. Normally we would spend more time in warrior two, but this is about the journey, not about the destination itself. Dig your fingertips into your hip creases and imagine that you could have the flattest back ever. First, we tuck the tailbone, draw the navel in and up. Imagine that the pelvis is shifting up and helping you lengthen all the way to the breastbone. So even as we fold halfway down, with our toes tipped inward, we're lifting the heart. Rise back up. Pivot on the balls of the feet so the heels draw in. Bend your knees, goddess or temple. Arms can come into cactus shape. Elbows draw together in front of you. Arms are in a V. And then you zip them up. Stay low. Keep the palms pressed together. Press to standing. Lift the arms overhead. Exhale, come back to goddess pose. This time we'll take eagle arms. After you've tucked your tailbone, drawn the belly in, right elbow comes underneath the left. Stay low for a moment. Elbows come as high as your shoulders. As you draw up to standing, keep your eagle arms. We'll take a little twist over to the right and then over to the left. Arms sweep up in a V. Our power gesture, fingers curl in, thumbs remain out. We're going to come back into goddess pose. Yes, we're working those quads quite a bit today. Elbows wide, tuck the tailbone. Release your fingers, eagle arms other way, this time left under right. Elbows, shoulder height. Press those knees out and back. Lift back to standing. Keep your eagle arms. A twist left and a twist right. Come back towards center and scoop the belly in around your spine. Just find a little opening between the shoulder blades. 5-pointed star, arms sweep wide and up. Power gesture, mudra. Fingers in, thumbs out. Return to goddess. We're going to try what we did coming into this wide-legged stance. Rise up. But we're going to do it the opposite way in the opposite direction. So point your left toes to the back of the mat. Parallel your right foot to the front of the mat and find a warrior two. Windmill the hands down inside the left hand down inside your left foot and float the right arm high. Extended side angle. Draw toward the back of the mat in your runner's lunge. It's like magic. We're going to drop the back knee down, untuck the toe, and heel toe the left foot way to the left edge of the mat. Although I have a wider mat today, so that might be a little wide for me. We're going to remain here for a moment with the palms on the earth, the tricep of the left arm pressing into the left knee and the left knee pressing back. Tuck your right toes under, float your right knee off the mat, and see if you can extend that leg a little farther to open up the quad and the psoas a bit. For a twist, we pivot on the left heel to point the left toes away. Left hand draws inside the left leg, and we press it away from us and take a look over the left shoulder. If a quad stretch is in your practice or you're working on it, feel free to take that here. That can be painful on some people's knees. Left hand inside the left foot. We bring the heel and the toes parallel to find lizard pose by shifting the hips forward, the pelvis forward, not down. And if you like, and if it feels okay and safe, you could bring your forearms to a prop or to the mat, or simply move the hands forward a little bit and drop your head. Remembering it's about the journey, the hands walk underneath your shoulders. Tuck your right toes under. So we're in a bit of a wide-legged runner's lunge as you lift the right knee off the mat. Bring the right foot parallel to that top edge of the mat again and come back into your warrior two. We won't stay there. Extend your front leg. Bring your hands to your hips. Double check that the hips are squaring more toward the long edge of the mat than they are the short edge. Then the arms draw back out in a T for Trikonasana. We reach forward with the left hand, keeping the hips and shoulders in the same plane. Then drop the left hand, floating the right arm high or maybe taking a half bind. Or perhaps if your shoulders are cranky, you can bring the back of the right hand to the low back. Does not matter how low you get. We're working strength. Imagine you're tractioning the front foot and the back foot toward each other. You've got power in your legs without locking the knees. And the heart and belly are aiming toward the sky, activated. Hands draw to your hips, lift back up. Come into your wide-legged stance facing the long edge of your mat, toes in and heels out. Jab those fingers back into the hip creases and use that as if you were folding a piece of paper, you're going to come halfway down. I say you're gonna, but it obviously is your choice, it's your practice. And then when you're ready, noticing if you need to widen your stance or shorten it, you're going to fold all the way down. Head hangs so heavy. We're not pressing away from the earth with the fingertips. Rather, we're allowing the fingertips to help us. We're pressing into the feet to lift the hips toward the sky, which might allow a deeper fold. A walk of the hands over to the left. Through the center and to the right. Return to center. Drop your head. Spin your fingertips to the opposite side of the mat and walk the hands between the feet. See if you can get more hips toward the sky,
more belly toward the spine, and more length in the spine toward the earth. If you like, the hands can then walk in front of you, finding that it's a very interesting stretch as you keep your heels toward the earth and walk the hands farther away. Some people like to draw to their forearms there. I don't have that much stretch. Press the sitting bones toward the sky. Walk the hands back under the shoulders. Find your halfway lift once again. Extend that spine. Draw the belly in. Hands one at a time come to your hips and rise back up. We're going to move into our Trikonasana. Tricycle, tricycle. Draw the right heel in so that the toes are pointing now toward the front of the mat. You might need to shorten your stance. My mat is very slippery. Gotta be safe. Arms out in a T. Smile on the beautiful face. And a reaching of the right hand toward the front of the mat. Drop the right hand and float the left. Triangle pose. Tricolor pasta. What's the name of the three-pointed hat? It's a try something, I think. You know, that Washington hat. And then whatever you did with your upper arm, do the same thing here. Come back to your warrior two for just a moment. So you can bend your front knee and windmill the hands down, finding your way into that wide-legged runner's lunge, this time toward the front of the mat with the right foot in front. Right tricep pressing inside the right knee and the right knee pressing back. Nice long stance, and we drop the back knee. Untuck your toes. Heel toe the right foot way to the right. Point the toes to the right. We find our twist here, adjusting as need be. The spider moved from in front of me at the front of my mat all the way over to my right side now. Just quick runner, that Spidey. Quad stretch if you took it on the other side. Right hand down, heel and toes come parallel. They peel open like a book in your choice. As you send the pelvis forward, not down, you might bring the forearms to something, a mat, a block. Time to move into back bends. The hands plant. We find our way to tabletop. And then slowly find your way all the way down to the mat on your belly. With the forearms on the mat and the elbows underneath your shoulders, we're going to move into a Sphynx Pose. If you have low back crankiness, either regularly or right now, make your feet as wide as your mat. Press the hip bones in toward the earth and then lift the navel away. It might cause you to squeeze your glutes a little bit. That's okay to start with. We'll journey toward loosening the glutes. But we want safety in the low back to start. You're going to draw the palms and the elbows backward as if you were drawing the mat toward your feet and reach your heart through your arms toward your thumbs, but obviously up in that direction. I don't have a lot of flexibility in my spine. One of the reasons I love yoga. We breathe here 3. Relax the glutes 2. And 1. Come all the way to the mat, turning one cheek. And the hands draw now underneath the shoulders or closer toward the rib cage. The elbows pointing up like Batman ears or Batwoman ears. Then we turn the opposite cheek to the mat. Forehead draws to the mat, and we come into a little baby cobra. Same gig with the hips. Press the bony hips to the earth. It's as if you're lengthening the low back. Lift the navel away like it's doing a little push-up, and then press into the mat, finding your cobra. You might press deeper, lifting the heart and opening up the collarbones, but really loosen those glutes to protect your low back. 3, 2, come all the way to the mat. We're going to take one more back bend. This time, the legs zip up like tree trunks. Hands drop by the sides, palms face up, forehead on the mat. Breathe in and out. Draw the bony hips toward the earth, the navel away, and on your next inhale, float the heart, the head, the feet, the hands, the arms. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. You might face the palms to the earth if that helps get more of a back bend, and breathe here. 3, 2, and 1, all the way down to the mat and into a child's pose. Your child might be Balasana 1 with the knees together, or Balasana 2 with the knees wide. Either way, follow the journey of the breath from the top of the head, the crown of the head, all the way to the toesy woesies. Feel that breath extending the space between the vertebrae. Extend the space between the SI joints all across the low back. Rise up and draw yourself into a seat. Move into a twist and a couple more stretches before we find our way to our backs. Right heel. So come to the center of your mat, front and back, side to side, roughly. Doesn't have to be perfect because it doesn't exist. Right heel toward your left glutes. You could remain here for your twist, or if you feel like it and it works for you, you can hook the left ankle outside the right thigh. Either way, the left hand is not a kickstand, it's just a guide behind your left glutes. You're working to have both sitting bones on the earth as you twist over to the left. Shoulders away from the ears. Long spine breath in, retain that length as you twist on the exhale. Inhale towards center, hands behind you, so you can shift onto your sacrum and switch the cross of your legs, finding your twist on the other side. Setting it up, finding the exploration, the discovery, the journey. Find your way front and center. Extend the legs onto the earth. Arms draw out in front. Pinky toes really work toward your shoulders. We lock the arms back into the shoulder. We sit up really tall. And instead of thinking about folding or bending the back, we're going to think about shifting forward from the hips. Breathe in. Exhale, shift as if you're reaching past your toes, but not touching the toes. Inhale. Exhale, shift forward. Maybe a little Buddhist-like smile on the face once again. Let's take one more of those. And then your hands can drop, your head can drop. Just finding that edge and breathing into it for perhaps even just like the tiniest micro something into the fold. This is just like our standing folds. We happen to be sitting. Now we're going to unravel, gathering the belly in, rounding the spine to come all the way down to the mat. Soles of the feet come to the mat, knees point toward the sky. Supine figure 4, right ankle above the left knee. Draw in the left knee toward your shoulder, if that feels okay for you. And go ahead and maybe prop up your head or tuck your chin and place the back of the head on the mat. Both feet are activated. The right elbow presses the right knee away from you. We relax across the collarbones, which will help soften the shoulder blades to the earth. Plant the left foot on the earth. Gather the right knee into the chest. Give it a good squeeze to straighten out the hips again. Right foot returns to the ground. And the left ankle crosses above the right knee for your supine pigeon, supine figure 4 on this side. Take your time. Notice anything different from this side to the other. And maybe therefore the journey is a little bit different. Maybe you focus a little bit more on breathing into the shoulder blades, or breathing into the hip or the knee. Unravel, planting both soles of the feet on the earth, and bring them as wide as your mat and let your knees touch like a little gentle kiss. Draw the belly in and press the low spine against the mat. And see if you can let the arms flop out left and right. They don't have to be exactly in a straight T. When you're starting to soften the tops of the shoulders toward the mat. Then we take a little gentle journey like windshield wipers, left and right. Maybe the knees touch down, maybe they do not. It's not a competition. It's not a test. There's no perfect. Now, whatever final posture your body asks you for, maybe it's a little other kind of movement. Before we move into Shavasana, I think I'm going to go for knee circles with the knees hugged in toward the chest. You could take a happy baby, a Supta Baddha Konasana, virtual legs up the wall, almost anything. No need to zhuzh anything up here. And we extend the legs on the mat or keep the knees bent or prop the knees for Shavasana. Space between the feet plop outward, and the arms again with the palms facing up. Space between the shoulder blades. And we take a nice big journey of the breath from the tippy toes to the top of the head and the tops of the fingertips. Let it go. Maybe the gentlest of rocks of the head. Left and right till it settles. Shavasana. Your journey coming to an end for the practice, but not the part of the practice you'll take with you off the mat. Gently tug your awareness back to the body on the mat. Find your way into a full body pencil stretch or maybe some other stretch. I like to hook the thumbs overhead and spread the fingers. Reach the toes toward the front and the fingers toward the back as you breathe in fully. And release. Knees gather in, so allowing you to roll onto one side. A return here to your intention or what brought you to your mat. And a little conscious tug at the notion of the preciousness of life, the impermanence of everything. the karmic aspects, even if you don't believe in karma. Positive creates positive among other people. And that cultivation relieves our own suffering. Press yourself to a comfortable seat. Noticing my allergies here, hands to the heart. We'll close as we began with a final chant of Om, gathering up all the merits, the wonderful intentions, the kindness in our hearts, and sending them out to all people in need, all beings that suffer. Breathe all the air from your lungs. Take a nice, generous inhale. The knuckles return to the center forehead. May you find every moment precious despite its fleetingness. Namaste. It was lovely to be with you today from my side of the camera. I hope your side of the camera enjoyed and found value in your practice. And congratulations for making it to your mat. If you happen to be in Vermont and it happens to be a Saturday that you're watching this and you happen to go to the farmer's market shortly, I will see you there. Have a great rest of your day. My name is Karen, coming to you from Salt and Sand Studios. Yoga for everyone in this yoga intermissions practice. Have a good one.